Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coach Kyle here, and today you're going to learn about one of the primary practices that I use not only for my own run training, but for the run training of my clients as well. This is the ability to run by feel or perceived exertion when you're out doing your tempo runs, your track repeats, and primarily the easy general days, your easy general runs. When you're aware of how easy or hard a run feels, you're capable of better controlling and modulating a run on a specific day based on your fatigue level, the weather, the run duration, and other factors. Even something like how if your previous meal was too much food to eat before a run. When I have new clients come to me for coaching, I always share with them a chart of and a description of perceived exertions. It's a rating of perceived exertion chart. It's a 1 through 10 scale, which starts with runs at a very easy conversational effort. I very often run with my mouth closed for my easy runs, and this allows me to keep them truly easy. A great rule of thumb is if you're running at a fairly normal, easy conversational pace, one that you can recite Shakespeare in its original Klingon in, then that's a good, easy exertion. As the numbers on the chart increase, so does your level of perceived exertion from easy to moderate to hard to best effort. So, why should you run by perceived exertion? You will realize a number of benefits once you become comfortable at running by how you feel and not by heart rate or by pace. First and foremost, number one, the most important thing is that you'll become a more mindful and tuned in runner on your current run, the run you are in. This will allow you to run each section of a run, a workout, or a race at the appropriate level so you can feel strong and sustainable for the entire duration of the run. Another benefit is that you'll rely less on your watch for dictating your runs. Gone are the days where you'll be looking at your heart rate or your speed every 2 minutes. Oftentimes for my easy runs, I even ditch the watch altogether and just go out and run naked. Some of my favorite runs are when I go out for these, 3, 5, 30, 60, whatever minute runs at a very easy effort. I have a 5-mile loop I do. I have a 3-mile loop. And if I run 4.9 or 5.1 for this 5-mile-ish loop, it's fine. I just log a 5-mile run. I guess that the effort, it's fine. It doesn't actually matter. For me, it's just me and the miles. And that's the ultimate form of active meditation. It's just going out and running an easy 5-mile loop and being in the run. And again, something else you'll find is that workouts simply fall into place. On a personal level, with using me for example, if I were to be my own coach, I would prescribe my 1K repeats. So for example, 5 times 1K at about 4 minutes per kilometer. And if I was to run them by effort, it would be 5 times 1K at a medium or moderate to moderately hard effort. And you know what? Both workouts would have the exact same results. Your body and your brain, they start to understand what a moderate hard effort for 4 minutes feels like. And that turns into the exact run that I would have prescribed. Same for a moderately hard 4 miles at like a tempo run. It's the same thing. This connects to the first benefit where you develop improved pacing and mindfulness when it comes to running the run and the mile you are in. Again, something else is when should we ignore speed and when should we run by perceived exertion? And while I do most of my runs most often for perceived exertion for myself and my clients, there are times when it's more appropriate than others. And the first that really comes to mind is early on in a training cycle, perhaps right after a period of rest. During this time, I refer to it as an introductory time period. We are just starting to implement quick running speeds into our training. And this might come from anything from like 30-second strides to longer hill repeats and upwards of 1, 2, 3 minute surges. For these short, quick bouts of running early on in a training campaign, the goal is to use them to prepare for the longer stuff, the longer workouts to come. And for these, the short strides and repeats early on, they're meant to be more casual, where you simply run them at a brisk but sustainable and controlled perceived exertion. I explain it to my clients like they're chasing a ball going into the street, not chasing a child going into the street. And I tell my clients that during these type of workouts, there's no reason to hit the lap button for 30 or 60-second strides. And you don't need to have to try to hit a goal pace. You can do them on uphills or downhills or flat sections. You may not be as fast for these as you feel you should be if you're coming off a low volume, low training load period. So one benefit of running by feel is that you're not going to be bummed out by seeing what your speeds are compared to what you think they should be. And this is especially helpful if somebody's coming off like an injury and they're just out of shape for easy runs. They're just not going to be as fast, and that's okay. Even later in a campaign, when we've kind of been through this introductory time frame and we're going to longer 1K, 5-minute, 1 mile, 10-minute or longer repeats, we might still do them by perceived exertion. These can help the runner develop the skill to be mindful of how hard you're actually running and to better modulate and control your effort and pace for longer segments and for future races. This is going to hopefully prevent you from running too hard in your workout days and even too hard on your easy days and your races. And recently I was talking with a client of mine and I told her that if I'm having an off day on how I feel, or the weather is extra hot or windy, I might modify a workout that was originally supposed to be a set distance at a set speed and change it to a workout where I ignore the actual speed and I run by perceived exertion and I don't even look at my speed during the repeats. And I feel fine. It's okay. I don't know how slower I went. I know I went slower, but I ran by perceived exertion. I felt good. And so that was a good workout. So let's say the original workout was something like 1K repeats at 5-minute kilometer pace. However, it's super windy outside, hot outside, and I know that I'm not going to be able to hit that goal speed. One option is to just do the workout slower and be fine with that, and that's great. But another option that I often like to do to kind of spice things up a bit is take those 4-minute repeats, move them to a rolling hills route, and do 4-minute repeats on rolling terrain. And it's not better or worse, it's just different. And sometimes I even plan these workouts in, but sometimes I do them on the fly like this. And when you run a repeat workout by perceived exertion, you should do them at a fairly sustainable effort. This is true for all types of workouts, but you should cover each repeat feeling strong and end the workout feeling like you could have done 1 or 2 more repeats and felt really good about what you did. But don't be afraid to do these types of 1 mile repeats. Don't be afraid to do them slower in the heat or the wind, or to take them off a track to a rolling terrain and do them there. It's nice to kind of spice things up a little bit. And in cases like that, when there's other factors contributing, it's okay to run them by perceived exertion and ignore the speed. And it's kind of fun sometimes. So how not to run by perceived exertion. Let's talk about that. We've talked about why you should learn to run by perceived exertion, and we've talked about some examples, but let's talk about how you should not run by perceived exertion. And one example is that you should not have to check your watch if you're running by perceived exertion. We are ignoring the actual speed, and as long as an easy run feels truly easy, you're running at the right perceived exertion and you're running at the right speed. Your speed can and will fluctuate based on, like I said, the terrain, the weather, your sleep before the run. But keeping that effort easy makes it an easy run. And for many of my clients, they do eventually run workouts with specific distances and speeds suggested to them ahead of time. But what is important to realize is that if you and your coach are aware of your abilities and you can run mile repeats at a moderate to moderately hard effort, you'll end up running them at the same speed you would have if you would have simply plugged in a goal time for the repeat workouts. it all equals out in the end. If you are able to do this, it likely means that you've appropriately developed the skill to not only run by perceived exertion, but to plan and pace a workout appropriately. This is it's nice to see that when you plan workouts based on past workouts, based on past races, you can plan them and run them and feel good about what you did. And part of this skill, part of having a properly paced race or a properly paced mile repeat workout, is being aware of how your body feels and putting that awareness into action by controlling how you feel early on in a race or a workout, holding back during an easy run early on so you can run longer, feel better during the run by having paced appropriately. So if you like what you hear, if you have anybody that you think would benefit from this lesson, then please share this with them. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching, check out kylecrans.com and look at my coaching details, look at those testimonials, a lot of happy runners. And if you want to take things to the next level and chat about how we can work together to help you with your run training to make you stronger, faster, and a more resilient athlete, contact me. Don't contact me 3 months from now and wish you would have contacted me now. Do it now, and let's be stronger 3 months from now, a faster and a smarter runner in the future by starting now. You'll be better off in the future. Don't hold back. You'll be glad you did. Contact me, Coach Kyle. I'm here for you. As always, you keep running. I'm going to keep coaching.